They said he could summon storms. They said he could turn into a bird and fly over his enemies. They said he was half man, half spirit. Sunni Ali was a king, a conqueror, and a sorcerer, or so his enemies claimed. The Songhai Empire stretched across the Niger River. Its cities, Gao, Timbuktu, Djenné, were centers of trade and scholarship. But in 1464, the empire was collapsing. Invaders had captured its capital. The Songhai people had lost everything. The Tuareg nomads from the Sahara had swept down and seized Gao. The Mossi kingdoms raided from the south. The Songhai were surrounded, weakened, and leaderless. Their king had fled. Their army was scattered. But one man refused to surrender. Sunni Ali was a prince of the Songhai dynasty. He had grown up watching his people suffer. He had learned warfare, strategy, and the old ways. He believed he was chosen by the spirits to restore Songhai. The legends say Sunni Ali made a pact with the spirits. He learned the secrets of sorcery. He gained powers no ordinary man possessed. His enemies called him a magician. But his followers called him the restorer of Songhai. Sunni Ali gathered the scattered Songhai warriors. He promised them victory. He promised them revenge. He promised them an empire that would never fall. They had nothing left to lose. They followed him into battle. His first target was Gao. The Tuareg occupiers were strong, but they did not know the land. Sunni Ali did. He struck at dawn. He used the river to flank them. He caught them by surprise. The Songhai won. Gao fell in a single day. Sunni Ali had reclaimed his capital. He was crowned king. But he knew this was only the beginning. To build an empire, he would need Timbuktu. He would need Djenné. He would need to conquer everything. The Songhai Empire had once controlled the trade routes of the Sahara. Gold, salt, and books passed through its cities. Sunni Ali wanted that empire back. He wanted it larger. He wanted it feared. He was willing to do anything to get it. He spent years building his army. He trained his cavalry. He forged alliances. He studied his enemies. He learned their weaknesses. Then, in 1468, he struck. His target was Timbuktu, the greatest city in West Africa. The gateway to the empire. Timbuktu was a legend. It was the city of gold. The city of scholars. The city of kings. Merchants from across Africa and Arabia came to its markets. Books were worth more than gold. Its universities were famous. Sunni Ali wanted it. The rulers of Timbuktu were the Tuareg. They believed the desert protected them. They believed no army could cross the sands to reach them. Sunni Ali proved them wrong. He crossed the Sahara. He brought war to their doorstep. The battle for Timbuktu was fierce. The Tuareg were skilled warriors. They knew the desert. They knew how to fight. But Sunni Ali knew how to win. He surrounded the city. He cut off its water. He waited. Then he struck. Timbuktu fell. Sunni Ali was now master of the greatest city in West Africa. The merchants brought him tribute. The scholars offered him loyalty. But Sunni Ali was not satisfied. He wanted Djenné, the other jewel of the Niger. The legends say that after taking Timbuktu, Sunni Ali flew over the city in the form of a bird. He circled 3 times. He was showing the people he was more than a man. He was chosen by the spirits. And they believed him. Djenné was different from Timbuktu. It was built on an island in the Niger River. It was surrounded by water. It was protected by its location. No army had ever taken Djenné by force. Sunni Ali was about to try. Sunni Ali spent months building a fleet. He gathered every boat on the Niger. He built new ones from the forests. His army learned to fight on water. They became sailors as well as soldiers. They were ready. He attacked at night. His fleet surrounded the island. His warriors stormed the walls. The defenders of Djenné fought hard. They had never lost. They did not want to lose now. But Sunni Ali was relentless. He gave no quarter. Djenné fell after 7 months. Sunni Ali had conquered the unconquerable. The merchants brought him gold. The scholars brought him books. He was now master of the Niger. He was the most powerful king in West Africa. Sunni Ali had built an empire. It stretched 1,000 miles across West Africa. It controlled the gold trade. It controlled the salt trade. It was the largest empire the region had ever seen. And Sunni Ali was its master. The legends of Sunni Ali's sorcery grew with every conquest. His enemies whispered that he could make himself invisible. That he could fly. That he could summon storms. Sunni Ali did nothing to stop these stories. They made him feared. They said that in battle, Sunni Ali would transform into a bird. He would fly over his enemies. He would see their formations. He would know their plans. His enemies could not hide from him. He saw everything. But his enemies also said he was cruel. They said he killed without mercy. They said he destroyed sacred places. They said he was not a Muslim, but a pagan who worshipped the old gods. His enemies wrote the history. The scholars of Timbuktu hated Sunni Ali. They were Muslims. He followed the old ways. They believed in law. He believed in power. They wrote that he was a tyrant. They wrote that he was a sorcerer. Their words survived. Sunni Ali did not care what the scholars wrote. He was king. He had conquered an empire. He had made the Songhai the masters of West Africa. He was the restorer of Songhai. No one could take that from him. Sunni Ali understood the Niger River. He knew it was the heart of his empire. Whoever controlled the river controlled the trade. He built a navy. He built ports. He made the Niger his highway. His navy patrolled the river. They stopped raiders. They protected merchants. They collected taxes. The Niger became safe. Trade flourished. Gold, salt, and cloth moved freely. The Songhai grew rich. The wealth of the empire flowed through Sunni Ali's hands. He controlled the gold mines of the south. He controlled the salt mines of the desert. He was one of the richest kings in the world. The people of the Niger called him the river god. They believed he controlled the floods. They believed he brought the rains. They believed he was the spirit of the river made flesh. He did nothing to stop these stories. He built shrines to the river spirits. He honored the old gods. He did not force his religion on his people. But he did not let the Muslim scholars tell him how to rule. He was king of the Songhai. Sunni Ali faced enemies on every border. The Mossi kingdoms raided from the south. They were fierce warriors. They knew the forest. They struck without warning. They were the terror of the savannah. Sunni Ali hunted the Mossi raiders. He chased them into the forest. He burned their villages. He took their cattle. He made them pay for every raid. The Mossi learned to fear the Songhai. The Tuareg never accepted Sunni Ali's rule. They had held Timbuktu for generations. They wanted it back. They raided from the desert. They attacked caravans. They were a constant threat. Sunni Ali built forts along the desert border. He stationed soldiers to watch the dunes. He sent patrols into the Sahara. He hunted the Tuareg raiders. He never caught them all. But they knew he was watching. When he caught raiders, he was merciless. He executed their leaders. He sold their followers into slavery. He sent their heads to the Tuareg camps. He wanted them to know what happened to those who challenged him. The scholars of Timbuktu never forgave Sunni Ali. He had not respected them. He had not honored their law. He followed the old ways. They began to write the history of his reign. They made sure the world would remember him as a monster. They called him a tyrant. They called him a sorcerer. They called him a pagan. They wrote that he had killed innocent people. They wrote that he destroyed sacred places. They wrote what they wanted the world to know. Sunni Ali knew what they were writing. He did not care. He had an empire to rule. He had wars to fight. He did not have time for scholars and their scrolls. He did not know that their words would outlive him. The scholars sent their histories across the Sahara. They sent them to Cairo, to Morocco, to Arabia. The stories of Sunni Ali the tyrant spread. The world learned to fear him. They learned only one version of his story. In 1492, Sunni Ali died. He had ruled for 28 years. He had built the largest empire in West Africa. He had made the Songhai masters of the Niger. Then his son took the throne. Sunni Baru was not his father. He was not a warrior. He was not a sorcerer. He was a scholar. He was a Muslim. He was everything the scholars wanted Sunni Ali to be. And they saw their chance. The scholars approached Sunni Baru. They told him his father was a tyrant. They told him his father was a pagan. They told him his father did not deserve to be remembered. They offered him a deal. But the generals loved Sunni Ali. They remembered his victories. They remembered his power. They did not want his son to betray his legacy. The empire was divided. And the scholars knew who to turn to. The scholars sent messengers to Morocco. They invited the Sultan to invade. They promised him Timbuktu. They promised him the gold. They offered their own empire to a foreign king. All to erase Sunni Ali. Sunni Baru accepted their terms. He converted to Islam. He rejected his father's legacy. He became a puppet of the scholars. The empire Sunni Ali built would now be ruled by men who hated him. In 1591, the Moroccans came. They had muskets. They had cannons. They had come to take the gold. The Songhai army was large. But they had no guns. They had no way to stop the invaders. The Songhai fought bravely. They charged the Moroccan lines. They tried to overwhelm them with numbers. But the muskets cut them down. The cannons tore through their ranks. The Songhai army was destroyed in one day. Timbuktu fell. Djenné fell. Gao fell. The empire Sunni Ali had built collapsed in years. The Moroccans took the gold. They took the trade. The Songhai were conquered. The scholars who invited them were rewarded. The scholars thought they would be honored. They were wrong. The Moroccans took everything. They burned the libraries. They stole the books. They destroyed the city the scholars had betrayed their king to protect. Sunni Baru fled. He ran into the desert. He died in exile, forgotten by his people. The Songhai Empire was gone. The cities Sunni Ali had built were in ruins. The scholars who hated him had destroyed everything. The scholars began their work. They erased Sunni Ali from the histories. They wrote that he never existed. They wrote that he was a demon. They wrote that the Songhai Empire was built by Muslim kings. They removed his name from the lists of kings. They wrote that his son had inherited the throne from someone else. They rewrote history to erase the man who built their empire. For 400 years, they succeeded. The Moroccan historians wrote about the conquest. They wrote about the scholars who invited them. They wrote about the gold they took. But they did not write about Sunni Ali. They did not know his name. When Europeans came to the Niger in the 19th century, they did not know Sunni Ali's name. They found ruins. They found legends of a sorcerer king. But they did not know who he was. It was not until the 20th century that Sunni Ali was rediscovered. Historians found the old scrolls. They pieced together the truth. They learned that the Songhai Empire had been built by a man the scholars tried to erase. Today, Sunni Ali is a hero in Mali. His statue stands in Gao. His name is taught in schools. His story is told by griots. The man the scholars tried to erase is remembered. The griots never forgot Sunni Ali. While the scholars wrote their histories, the griots sang their songs. They passed down the stories of the sorcerer king. They kept his memory alive for 400 years. Timbuktu was rebuilt. The libraries were restored. The scholars returned. But they never forgot the man who conquered their city. They still whisper his name with fear. They still remember the sorcerer who made them kneel. Every year, the people of Gao celebrate Sunni Ali. They dance. They sing. They tell the stories of his victories. They remember the man who gave them an empire. They remember the man the scholars tried to erase. Sunni Ali was a conqueror. He was a king who built an empire with blood and iron. But he gave his people something they had lost. He gave them pride. He gave them an empire that would be remembered for 500 years. The Niger still flows. The empire Sunni Ali built is gone. The cities he conquered have fallen. The scholars who hated him have died. But his story remains. Every generation tells his story anew. Every child learns his name. Every griot sings his songs. The sorcerer king lives on. Not in the histories the scholars wrote, but in the hearts of the people he ruled. Sunni Ali built an empire that lasted 200 years. He built cities that still stand. He built a legacy that could not be erased. The scholars tried to destroy his name. But they could not destroy what he built. They called him a sorcerer. They called him a tyrant. They wrote that he was a demon. But his people called him king. His people called him restorer. His people called him father. And his people remember. Sunni Ali. The sorcerer king of Songhai. The man who built an empire. The man the scholars tried to erase. The man his own son betrayed. The man who still watches from the river. and who still waits for the world to know his true name.